As you know, I love bringing in guests and discussing about whatever with them here on Tatiana Time. Today I brought in a very special guest who I'll be interviewing and discussing about because you'll be finding out later on here on this very episode. Enjoy! Hey guys, welcome back to Tatiana Time and also Happy New Year. This will be actually the first episode for 2025, and I'm glad to have a special guest on here. His work has been incredible. He's been doing a lot of things. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, my name is Dylan DeJong-Dougherty. Uh, I'm a photographer from Philly. I go to NYU, take a lot of photos. Yeah, that's what I got so far.
That's cool. Wait, so what's your major at NYU?
Photo. I'm in the photo department.
Photo department? Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I'm in IMA, Interactive Media Arts. So it's like tech, like coding and stuff, but like kind of
Oh,
in a
that's what's
creative
up.
way.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So how did your start in photography begin? Like, what's your photography background? Like, do you have any influences? Like, explain your artistry.
Cool. Well, my grandpa was a photographer. My pop. So I would always look at his photos when I was a kid. Um, and they were sick. They were really cool. He would have like 30 of the same photo printed like a million times, like 30, tons and tons of them. Um, but I remember my like one of my best friends in eighth grade. First, one of them got the new iPhone. It was like when they had portrait mode. We were taking pictures on. I'm like, damn, this is cool. So I really wanted one, but I had an iPhone 6, and my iPhone didn't do that. And then my other one of my very close friends got a camera, and I was like, damn, okay, I need to get a camera. Because we would just take it everywhere and take pictures of like whatever. Um, and so like by the end of my eighth grade year, I was like, shit, I'm gonna save up, and I saved up, and I bought a camera. I still have it. I don't really shoot with it anymore. But I bought a Canon T7, and yeah, I mean, I would just right after that, right after I bought it, like a year later, was the pandemic. So I would just go out. That's what I would do. I would just go out and shoot whatever. I mean, there wasn't a lot going on, but I would take whatever was going on. I would photograph that.
And do you maybe want to get into like what cameras you work with now?
Yeah, I mean the cameras I work with now, it's kind of like, to be honest with you, um, I still haven't bought myself like a really good solid like use this every day type of camera. I need to do that. It's just expensive and I'm being lazy. But I shoot a lot of film, and I think that sort of allows me to like use a bunch of different cameras. I really like uh this one camera called the Canon Elon 2. A good friend of mine who's also a photographer named Jaden, he gave it to me, and yeah, I mean, since he's given that to me, I've shot like countless of my like favorite photos on it. And it's just a super dope camera. I have kind of like a not unorthodox, but a or rare, just like a different lens that you don't really see being used often on a 35 millimeter camera. I keep like a fixed 50 millimeter lens on there. And for me, that just allows me to like shoot how I want to shoot. It's kind of how I started. So shooting, it's like a lot tighter than other lenses. And so it kind of allows me to like manipulate what I see more. Instead of like a really wide lens where it's like, okay, well, this is just how I'm seeing everything naturally. Like it's zoomed in and tight, and changes. I kind of have to like change the way I'm looking at the stuff I'm photographing.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And do you maybe want to get into like which camera you've been using to like I guess like capture a lot of like different things like say like events or like artists that you've been photographing for like for example like Jules or like Layla, especially your work with Layla as well.
Yeah. So my one shoot with Jules that everybody saw, that like kind of like went everywhere. The black and white shoot that was on the Canon, and the 50 that I was just talking about. And so that was really cool to be able to use that and like really be excited about like the results and how it turned out. Especially because I also shot that. I mean, that was on film, and I developed that film by myself in the lab and then scanned it. So it was like from the start to the end of the process was like all physical. You know, I took the photo and then I went and developed it, and then I scanned it and printed it. So that was really cool. When I shoot with Layla, um, depending on what it is, you know, when I shot her album cover, I just shot on what the studio had available. I'm pretty sure it was a Canon R5. And then we shot on a 28 to 105 lens. We you know, we wanted to mimic her like high school portrait. So we kind of like just I looked up, okay, well, what lenses do are these portraits usually taken on, what angle, and just tried to like mimic that as best as I could. But I really do love shooting on Sony. So when we went out to LA for Camp Flogna, I brought a Sony with me from my school. Um, I'm not sure if I was supposed to say that, but it's all right. Yeah, so it really depends. Like I said, I don't really have like my own camera that I use specifically right now. So when I do invest in one, I'll probably have a better answer. You know, I'm kind of like like taking what I can get right now. But I do really love shooting on any like mirrorless Canon or I lately I've been shooting on the I think it's the now I'm gonna blank on the name. DS something DS R5 or something like that. And that's not mirrorless, but it kind of has this like really like milky like soft look to it. It's really cool.
That's cool. You're very like knowledgeable like when it comes to like cameras and stuff. And like I did want to ask, like speaking of school, like since you are in like in the photo department, like what kind of classes have you taken like in photography, and like how does those classes like help with your like photography journey, and like how you've been expanding your skills, like what you've been learning like, you know, about yourself?
Oh man, that's a good question. Um to be honest with you, I'm so thankful for the fact that I am in school as a photography major because there were so many things that I had overlooked. Like this is my first time college was my first time taking any sort of photo classes. Um and like genuinely like learning something that I really didn't know because I never took a photo class in high school or before high school. There just weren't any in my high school. I mean, I took film, which is somewhat similar. Um, but really with photo, it's like a whole different world. So I think my digital class, my first year, really all my first year like base classes like analog photography, which was shooting and developing film, culture and history of imaging and photography, and digital. Those really shape the way that I'm thinking about art nowadays. Because I see photography more as an art than just like a way to like, you know, capture what's going on. You know, I really see it as like a way to tell a story and um a way to like change a narrative or push a certain narrative, which I really didn't see before. You know, I especially working in the music industry where like now I'm really trying to like tell stories through my work. I want to document people's lives, you know, like Layla or something in like a way that's not just like, okay, well, here's what's going on at this moment or yada yada yada. Like being able to tell her story or tell my story, like what I'm doing through photo. I think I really saw that after I took culture and history of photography because they really like develop your thinking as an artist to be like, well, photography is a fine art, you know, and I want my photos to seem like art, and I think that I really wasn't thinking about that before. um Also the like taking analog and like seeing the physical process of photo and being able to like physically develop it and print it with my own hands was super cool. It was like a whole new world. um and I sort of also brought that into like what I do. I gave this artist Teezo Touchdown some prints last year, and that was really cool to be able to like, you know, now this person has like my work with them, like they have it physically and they can look at it and touch it and
Whoa.
stuff like that. So
Well, that's actually really cool. Wait, that's dope. And like speaking of like, you know, I guess like how can I say this? Like finding a new perspective on like a lot of things when it comes to photography. Would you say like your genre in like photography, would it be like experimental? Is it like genre blending of like photojournalism, street, or like music, or like how would you define your photography?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've always sort of just done me, you know. I haven't really even whenever I'm shooting, I never even think of, okay, well, what genre can this fit in? I usually just think of how can I make the best possible art right now, or how can I make something that will get people to look at it and feel like, damn, he really just made art through this 1 second of taking that photo. So I guess if I had to, I mean, I think just based on the way that I shoot, it is a mix of genres. You know, I started off doing pretty much mainly street photography and photographing my friends, and now I'm sort of in like a more of an editorial phase right now. After shooting with Nike and Layla, and so I think that I definitely bring my my experience with street photography into that. A lot of my compositions are similar when it comes to street, and my editorial or my music work. So I guess it could be uh genre bending. I wouldn't say I'm very experimental. I think that coming to school and learning about like all of the like legends, photographers, or the people who really paved the way kind of made me stray away from experimental photography and made me want to pursue like this like classic like approach at photography. And I think that it really helped right now. Like, I mean, I have nothing against people being experimental. You know, there's been times where I've been super duper experimental and changed a lot about my photos and like the editing process. But right now I'm just super into like this base level of trying to shoot as close to what I want the photo to look like as possible, so I don't have to do a lot of editing. You know, I really want to be able to like take a photo and be able to not touch it up so much. You know, I want to be able to like shoot how I can see it already in my head, you know. So I think that I'm not that's that experimental, but I'm also not against it. You know, I think some people who are very experimental are super talented, and and yeah. But
Yeah. And do you maybe want to go behind like, the process behind your photography? Like, was it like creating it, or like what type of mindset do you usually get into?
um the thing, I think my mindset whenever I'm like shooting um is I'm always looking to just have fun, you know? I'm always looking to have fun first. You know, it's like photography isn't like super high stakes, you know? It's not like I'm going out there and doing surgery or something, you know? It's like I'm doing it because I love to do it. So I think my mindset when I'm creating is usually to have fun. I like to play music. I like to, you know, uh build connections. You know, I ask a lot of questions um when I'm shooting. I like to get to know the person better and feel comfortable. You know, it's when you're taking a photo of somebody, you're building a relationship. You know, you're trying to make this person look as good as they want to look, or look a certain way. So when you have that connection, it's like a whole lot easier. And I think that's like also something that makes my work more successful. Like just in general, is um is connecting with the people I work with, and making them more comfortable in front of like the camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like, is there like a type of impact you want to leave behind when it comes to your photography?
Um, I mean, yeah, you know, I think um that I definitely want my photography to speak for itself. Um, and I mean, as for impact, I think that if people get to look at my photos and it inspires them to maybe want to make their own art, or they just enjoy looking at it, that's worth it enough to me, you know. But if like people get to look at my photos and say, wow, he's amazing, I mean, that'll be nice too. but um
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, just as if like I think the impact I want to leave mostly is to inspire people to want to create their own work, you know, because there are so many people who I've seen, and and been like, damn, he really just did that or she really just did this. I want to go out there and do something, not the same, but I want to try to do something that feels this like powerful or this amazing. And so I hope people get the same feeling when they see my work.
Yeah, no, your work is very inspiring. Like I look at your work and I'm like, damn, now I want to buy a camera too.
Thank you
Like
so much.
I want to go and shoot things. Yeah. And like is there any like projects like you've done maybe like, in the past or like or anything that's coming up soon you maybe want to mention or talk about?
Yeah, I mean, just recently I shot my first time with Nike, um, and Layla and I directed like a short ad for them, and so that was really cool to be able to like step out of just the photo and the still image and direct like a moving picture, moving, you know, like a video. That was super cool. It was cool
Oh, and I'm
because
sorry, is that your first time doing that? I'm sorry.
yeah, I mean, I was in film in high school, so I directed something in high school, but nothing like this big, I guess you could say. I mean, to me anything can be big as long as you're passionate about it. But by big I mean like for like Nike, which is pretty big to me. um so yeah, that was like my first time like directing um with a crew, with a camera crew, and having the say, and like obviously I directed it with Layla, so she did a lot of the we did a lot of this stuff together before, and then sort of the day of, she was in the video, so I was behind the camera operator telling them, okay, shoot it like this, Layla, can you give me more emotion here, and blah 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 blah. And to be honest with you, I felt super comfortable doing that, which was exciting because I want to direct more. So I'm really excited that that project just came out. And we've gotten a lot of good feedback on it, and I'm hoping to direct more. I'm about to post the lookbook we shot, um from the Nike shoot today as well. Um,
Oh wow, I'm excited to see that.
yeah, I'm excited to share it. It'll be really cool. Um,
Yeah, and like I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, 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 keep going, keep going.
And like speaking of like directing and stuff, like since you want to do that more in the future, do you maybe want to go into like say like what type of like visuals do you create when it comes to photography or like directing in general?
Oh, I definitely want to like. I want to direct a music video. Um, I think it'd be cool to direct one of Layla's. We already have a couple ideas we've thought of. But it's a lot of work. Directing is like it's so much pressure. Um, way more than just like a photo shoot, in my opinion, and way more than I even thought before doing something like that. Like there's so many intricate parts. I mean, we filmed a minute and 22-second video, and it took us like 8 to 10 hours. It's like it's long. It's a long process. So I definitely want to shoot a music video. I want to direct a music video, and I think eventually down the line, I want to direct like a TV show or a movie. Um, and yeah, I mean after this, it's everything that I've like that has felt so distant. Like it's sort of just starting to feel more and more like possible. So I think one day maybe a movie. Maybe I'll direct a movie or a TV show.
Yeah, I definitely see that happening in the future. And like I also want to go into like also do you plan on like also doing like maybe collaborations in the future like with other not only like say artists but maybe other like photographers?
Yeah, I would. I love to. I've been really trying to like assist for other photographers more. It's kind of hard collaborating on on like a single photograph. I mean, obviously, like with to me, a collaboration is I'll have somebody help me out with lighting, and that'll be a collaboration. Like I have a good friend, her name's Stephanie, and she lights a lot of my sets, and she's just brilliant with it, and that's like a collaboration to me. But I did just work with another photographer. His name's Wyatt Winfrey, who graduated from NYU. I think like in 2020 maybe. And working with him was dope. We shot press photos for Cash Cobain together, and so working with like another photographer on that was definitely interesting. Because our shoot styles are completely different. So being able to like see hit like the way he operates around like a set versus the way I operate around a set was definitely really interesting. But I mean, I'm always open to collaborating with people and learning from people. Um,
Yeah.
I have a friend. His name's Jaden, and he's also a photographer. And I've collaborated with him plenty of times and learned like so much. So I really think it's definitely like hopefully going to be an integral part of my work moving forward is collaborating with more, you know, people who are knowledgeable about lighting, people who know, set design and stuff like that too.
Yeah, and this might be a strange question, but when you're not doing photography, what do you do in your free time then?
Oh, I do too much. I can't really sit still. I suck at relaxing. When I'm not doing photography, I'm most likely like playing basketball. I play basketball like every day. Go to the gym. Um, or I'm just like on a mission to do a whole lot of nothing with my friends. We like kind of just go out and walk around and talk and listen to music. Yeah, I mean that's really I like trying new things too. I'm more often than not probably eating. So I'd say like eating and playing basketball if I'm not taking photos is what I mean that's what I've been doing over winter break.
And relatable. That also I've been learning how to cook even more over winter
Nice.
break. So
Nice.
yeah. Um Also, when I usually interview, I'm sorry, like I ask people this question, like when I interview them, it usually like stops them in their tracks. But like, if you could define yourself or your photography in one word, what would that word be, and explain why?
Oh damn. So myself and my photography are separate.
Um,
Either one is cool.
let's do you first, and then your
Okay,
photography.
me first. Damn. In one word, maybe I don't know. Charismatic. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, that's
Um,
a good word. Yeah.
okay, cool. In my photography, um, I have a word on the tip of my tongue. I don't know. I feel like um polished. I feel like my photos are kind of polished, somewhat polished.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And would you
That's
maybe want to explain why?
um, well, I'm very particular about composition in a lot of my photos, and I think that
Mhm.
a lot of this just comes in like the way my brain works. I'm really particular about like things being straight and center, and so I think that goes into my work a lot, even when I don't even notice it. A lot of like my photos are framed um, really symmetrically and evenly, and so I think that's what makes them polished. I'm also like a stickler for things to be very, very clean and in focus. I don't do a lot of like blurry or moving or shots and stuff like that. So I'd say polished, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely see that in your work, and like I see someone you sometimes do like a lot of like close ups or like a lot of
Hmm.
like just like a lot of focus shots. So I definitely do see that. And like if you have like any say like upcoming advice for any photographers, what kind of advice would you give?
Oh man, I have a lot. I have a lot, but I'll start off by saying, um, shoot as much as you can.
Mm.
That's seriously what like made me fall in love with it was just like going out with my camera every day. And I think that a lot of people fall into the trap of thinking that whatever they're shooting isn't good enough or isn't interesting enough. But, if your visuals are strong and if you have a strong visual identity, you can really make anything an interesting moment. Um, so I think that that's definitely my advice is like, just take your camera with you everywhere. Build the relationship between you and your camera and the outside world because it's oftentimes a hard relationship to have. It's like feeling comfortable enough to photograph people on the street or photograph people you don't know very well is it's surprisingly difficult sometimes. So I think building that relationship and feeling comfortable in how you're taking photos is important.
Yeah, and like do maybe like if you're comfortable want to go into like how you build that relationship with like you and your camera, like photography, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, it's just taking photos. It's like it's a lot of the way is put it in the work, which is like a kind of a funny way to say it. But I mean, like I said before, I'm also I've also played basketball. I played basketball in high school, and that sort of also built the relationship of the way that I take photos. Is like to get better at basketball, it's repetition. You want to shoot the same shot over and over again, and then eventually, when you're playing the game, you'll just be able to shoot it and make it naturally. So it's like the same goes with anything, but to me, especially photography, is like practicing taking photos over and over again when you're in a situation, where you're at an event, and somebody you really want to photograph comes up to you or is around you. You're just going to naturally be better at approaching them, or you're just naturally going to be better at taking a photo of them. You know what I mean? So I think that it's just repetition and practice.
Mhm. And before we close this episode off, is there anything you maybe want to like add, or like maybe say something like, you may change up your photography style that might like catch us off guard in the future?
Um, no, I mean, well, first of all, thank you for having me on here. I'm excited about that. And I mean, I don't know if I'm particularly changing in the future. I definitely want to try a lot of new things. And I'd say if anything, I want to post more on Instagram, so be aware of that. Try to post a lot more this year. Because I always look
Yeah.
back on like the year, and I'm like, damn, I post what 5 times, and I've taken like thousands and thousands and thousands of photos this year. So I think, yeah, if anything, there's gonna be to look out for. It's more, more media, more everything.
That's good. That's good. Just being consistent. That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, no, thank you for letting me interview you.
yeah, of course. Thank you.
Of course, no, I'm so glad this happened. I know, like, just been a lot of stuff, but like, I'm
I
glad
know.
this happened. Yeah, and yeah, I might text you about something because I definitely do want to collaborate with you on
Cool.
like, yeah. So I'll definitely hit you
Let me
up
know.
after this.
All
Yeah,
right.
but
Thank you so
thank
much.
you. Yeah.